The following is a special presentation of iRacing on LSRTV, your home for sim racing.
High above Daytona International Speedway, we say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to those of you watching on iRacing Live and LSRTV. This is the Sunwest Construction Superspeedway Cup Series, and that's the Cars Tour graphic from last week. Cisco Scaramuza alongside Rachel Whiteford to bring you all the action. Rachel fighting a little bit of a cold, so you'll be hearing me primarily here tonight, but Rachel back at what is the calmest of the three tracks that we go to over the course of a season. And it's weird because you'd think with the amount of bumps this track has, it wouldn't be. But guess what? It just seems to work out that way.
You know, I was going to bring that exact same point, Cisco, tonight, that absolutely this track is the bumpiest. It's the one where you get the cars moving around the most, but because of that, these guys take care and they race carefully, and it tends to mean they behave themselves, which means we have much better racing going on. And this one, like I said, tends to be the calm one, although last week at Talladega I think they'd had enough of wrecking, so we'll see how things go tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at the point standings coming into tonight, Mark Jorgensen Jr. got that win and was able to secure and continue to be on top of the point standings, the most wins and the most points. Then you got Frank Basilia III, Rodney Wofford, Michael Cozy Jr., Justin Levine, Victor Bartlett, Gary Champion, Glenn Hedrick, Joshua Hanner, all locked in with a win. And then Andrew Berger, Scott Warren, Rod Flagg, Spencer Preet, Corey Henry, and Harry Tiller make up what would be your 15 driver playoff standings. We'll just have to see if that maintains here coming through tonight and in for another couple more weeks here. We're going to have 3 more races after tonight before we head into the playoffs and determine who's going to be the season 16 Superspeedway Cup champion. But just under 2 minutes left to go in qualifying right now, and one of the main storylines coming in tonight, Rachel, is the return of Brandon Montevise, who's been gone out on the real life side of things, helping out with some of the teams out there. He's back in the 54 here tonight, and obviously Brandon Chaburko came back last week in the 51, so those two drivers have made a return. Also not sure if the 53 of Austin Coop is going to be active tonight. We'll have to see if he is. But apart from that, it's the same old crew, and looking through a lot of these guys, it looks like almost everybody here, we've kind of shaken off that new driver field that we had towards the beginning of the season. All veterans here.
Certainly is, and with all those guys returning, you could say we have Brandons abound, which is always a bit of a tongue twister, but absolutely a lot of guys in this race tonight. And if you, of course, want to keep track of these guys, you have to do it how we do it. In fact, we really recommend you do. Of course, coverage of Superspeedway Cup Series brought to you in part by Joel Real Timing, and that is the official timing software of LSRTV. Whether you spend your time on the sim behind the wheel, on the pit box, from the spotter stand, or the commentary booth, JRT is the go-to software for iRacing timing and scoring analytics. Get yourself a basic download or get the pro version today at joel-real-timing.com. You can track everything from pit stops to passes by the millisecond.
Yeah, and JRT, of course, helps us keep on track and figure out what's happening on track. But just a few seconds left to go here in the qualifying server before we switch off. It looks like Mark Jorgensen Jr. going to grab the pole here from Daytona, and checkered flag out to end the qualifying session. And grid going to be coming up momentarily here from Daytona 07. And as we do switch over, let's run you through your starting grid here from Daytona 07 and see who's going to roll off in your top 10. Mark Jorgensen Jr. leads off. Like we said, 1 qualifying hottest lap of the day, and 2 is outside. It's going to be Rodney Wofford going to start second. 3rd going to go to Rod Flagg. 4th to John Ludke. 5th place runner right now is Michael Cozy Jr. Starting 6th is going to be Josh Hanner. 7th starter here is going to be Ray Rittenauer the 2nd. Jay Riot, Jason Altman's going to start 8th. 9th going to go to Scott Warren. And Brandon Chaburko rounds out your top 10.
11th place tonight, Corey Henry with Corey Smith, of course, Chris Bassini, Harry Teller. In 14th with Frank Whittaker III. In 15th place, Gary Champion, Brana Kuzmancevice, Spencer Preet, Richard Rager Jr. and Chris Patton.
And starting 21st is going to be PJ O'Leary. Andrew Berger going to start 22nd. 23rd to TJ Buck. 24th to Dan Harrington. Mike Schultz going to start 25th. 26th to Justin Lamine. Ryan Oates going to start 27th. Austin Coop 28th. You see the drivers down here have not made a time, so they're going to be starting at the back. Daniel Holloway starts 29th. Mike Thiel 30th. Paul Simpson Payne going to start 31st. And Sean McCarrick going to round out your 32 car field. But the track facts, they don't change a whole lot from the regular Daytona. Well, the track facts don't tell all the story here, Rachel. Of course, same deal, 31 degrees of banking, 2.5 miles, but a very different and very much more narrow surface than what we deal with at Daytona 2011.
Certainly is, of course, and narrower, like you say, bigger difference there, of course. These cars actually really like the middle lane in this configuration. Cisco, it's a little smoother, so you'll often see the leader and the predominant pack actually not at the bottom here, but in the middle groove.
Yeah, and we'll have to see if anybody's going to be able to make that outside line work. It's been kind of a catch-22 when we've been here. We've seen a couple drivers been able to make it work in the past, but as always, it's going to be a case of, can you get enough cars down on the bottom line to actually stick with you? That's the biggest and the hardest part of it, is because it's so bumpy down there, it's hard to actually get a line to work with you. That's why it's so hard to get that bottom side to work. So some of these guys, if they have the skill to be down there and the skill to push, they can make it work. But apart from that, it's going to be very difficult here this evening. But cars beginning to roll onto the track. 90 laps, of course, here at Daytona. Stage going to come out at lap 45 to break us up. So as per usual, the halfway break and playoff points going to go to the driver who wins that. And as per usual, fuel window going to be right around here, 20 laps, Rachel.
Certainly is, of course. 20-21 laps is about what we tend to see from these fuel tanks. And, well, if we get there green, which is plausible in this configuration, you'll see these guys pitting between 20 and 21, sometimes 22 if red caution maybe. But that'll be the big factor, of course. Lap 45 tonight for our stage end. And that is just outside of one fuel stop. So here we have the strategy time.
Yeah, absolutely. And pacing through 3 and 4 this time. And the field going to be in the hands of Mark Jorgensen Jr. when they get back to the start-finish line. Number 3 of Rodney Wofford going to be starting on that top side. John Ludke, great starting position for him. The Rainbow Warrior, that Exalta Chevrolet, going to keep an eye on him tonight. And, of course, Josh Hanner, and getting his laps back in, his rhythm back in that number 2 car. It's always great to see the number 2 Miller Ford Fusion on track. Field going to be left in the hands of Mark Jorgensen Jr. The iRacing.com Ford Mustang pace car pulls off, and field is on the lap pedal. Green flag is in the air, and we're racing from Daytona.
Certainly are, of course. Daytona is one of those big tracks, and these guys are always getting the big starts here, of course. Inside line, got a great start of that one. You got Wofford, of course, or Flag, sorry, pushing Jorgensen Jr. there. Wofford up top, but a bit of a slower start there. Like I said, Ludke in that 50 car. Not quite giving them the push, but things a little bit cautious at the start here. Behind your top 10, top 12 cars there. The pack just splitting up a little bit, giving themselves some room. The guys up front already looking at trying to go 3 wide there as Flag goes to the top side. It's going to be split 3 wide already. This is bold, guys. A little bit early for this.
Yeah, and it didn't quite work for Rod Flagg. Didn't really have a whole lot of help, and the basically going to be left for dead up on the top side, and they're going to get a little bit squirrely coming through the corner, but 3 cars on the bottom side kind of broke away. Jorgensen Jr., Cozy Jr., Ray Rittenauer the second, also Scott Warren and Corey Henry now starting to break away from the pack, and you kind of have this big cluster right now in about 8th or so, with Josh Hanner and Rodney Wofford and Jason Altman's trying to make it work on the top side, but they just can't seem to go a whole lot of places right now.
No, absolutely not. In this early stage, that won't happen. In fact, things are single filing out at the moment. These guys want to get some laps under their belts, which is always a good thing, because it means we might have a bit of a calmer race there as Corey Henry hops up to the top side to help Wofford and Hannah and Altmans, but everyone dropping back now. A lot of retro cars in the field tonight, and those now it's going to be just the two of Hannah left up top. And as I say that, Wofford tries to put me around, but he'll drop back down again. I just have the feeling that things will really quieten down here, Cisco. These guys have the feeling of, yeah, we just want to sit here and clock some laps before we start to get crazy.
Yeah, I agree, Rachel. This is going to be a wait-and-see kind of race. I think it can get a little bit dicey to try and make it work on the top side early on here, but nonetheless, Corey Henry's going to try and make it happen. To the outside, he's going to go with Rodney Wofford, the number 1 of Chris Piscini, and the 94 of Frank Basilia, going to turns 3 and 4 this time, and Henry leading that outside line. Has been looking for a little bit more luck here on the season, and not quite the season he's necessarily wanted. Has wanted to be up front a lot more, and has been up front, just has had also a lot of incidents befall that Sun Energy Chevrolet. So for Corey Henry, it's going to be a case of, yeah, I could definitely use some more good luck going my way, and he's got some teammates up there to help him. Also, Basilia kind of hanging out. It's about an 8-car breakaway behind Basilia. You got the number 2 of Josh Hanner, the 97 to Jason Altmans, 51 to Chaburko, the 50 of John Ludke. Got Brandon Monsivice up on the top side up there, and the Amsoil Ford Fusion. Still newer colors for Richard Reagan Jr. Of course, Amsoil coming on board to support him, so that's pretty cool to see. And Scott Warren right now catching up to the back of Ray Rittenauer in second as we head through 3 and 4 once again. And all of a sudden that breakaway's gone, Rachel, and pack's all back together here.
Yeah, they are indeed. And look at this up top there. That's just really taken advantage. And Corey Henry, Rodney Wofford, Chris Piscini, Frank Basilia. Basilia's worked his way forward, 15th to 6th already. Same for Piscini. Both of them moving up the order fairly rapidly. Henry leading now from 11th place earlier on, and that middle groove, like I said, look how smooth it is. They're not moving around anywhere near as much as the bottom line, which means they could stay together, stay hooked up, Cisco, and that just gives a huge advantage.
And one of the Achilles heels of these NASCAR Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series cars is the fact that, you know, the draft is so finicky here. You basically have to get on the back end of these cars and just sit there and push, which of course we've seen a lot of bumper hook in the past. But it basically means if you get a good lineup on the top side, you could basically blow by anybody, because that bottom side is so bumpy. It's so hard to actually stay connected to these cars. So that top side, it benefits these Monster Energy Cup cars way more than it does, I think, a lot of the rest of the cars that run in the draft. Yeah,
it really does. It's just going to be a real difference in terms of the performance of these cars, and I think these guys have gotten to the point now where they really understand the feel of these things, readjusted, and we've seen a lot less of bumper luck system. That has been definitely on the descent, shall we say, as Tiller, wow, goes down a lap very early here. 4 laps down. In fact, he's had problems in the early running. Not
sure. But, that looks like he
had a major problem.
Yeah, he's 5 laps down, so he must have had major issues getting into the race tonight. So Tiller only just getting on track about 2 laps ago, so he is basically, for all intents and purposes, he's going to be done for the evening. There's no way to make up that sort of gap unless we just keep wrecking the field, I guess. That's going to be the only way he's going to be able to do anything. But battle for the lead right now. Rodney Wofford on the bottom side. Corey Henry making it work. And these guys starting to actually figure out a little bit of something on that bottom side. I'm surprised it's happening this early, but I think it's the back straightaway, Rachel. If you can get something working down there, that's really going to be your best shot. And shortest way around the track, it seems to be working for Rodney Wofford. Speeding through 3 and 4 right now, but Jorgensen hangs tough on the high side.
Yeah, that tends to do it for them, of course, and Jorgensen trying his best here. Highside's been the way to the front, of course, so far today. He's got 3 good cars there in that line. Low side? Well, we'll see. It seems to be the case of get to the front, drop a car down, rinse and repeat, as these guys will just make their way around again here, lap number 8. Jorgensen, well, 2 wins this season. He's definitely one of the few, or the only drivers that's managed that so far this season. Got to be on a high.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, Rachel. This has been one of Mark's best seasons, just getting out on track. You know, in seasons past, he's had a bit of a lull, kind of came back with a huge win last season to get himself basically immediately back on track, and then ever since has just been on fire here. And going to get a little bit three-wide action here. Henry nearly got shuffled out of line, able to drop back down to the bottom side in front of Cozy Jr. And Jorgensen basically was able to turn around what was some pretty horrendous luck in seasons past, and was able to get back to the front of this series and to the front of a lot of these packs. So Jorgensen helped from the number 1 of Chris Piscini up on the top side, as well as the 94 of Basilia, but Wofford continues to lead with help from Henry on the bottom side. Looking back, that 2 of Josh Hanner has joined the group, along with Brandon Chaburko, 97 of Altman's, and the 76 of Warren, all up here now. John Lipke's going to get shuffled out of this pack just a little bit, kind of falling back into the clutches. Richard Reagan Jr. and a couple other drivers back there, PJ O'Leary and Rod Flag.
Yeah, absolutely. Those guys trying to get themselves in a good position here to make a sally on this field at the moment and try and get themselves further forwards. But, well, a lot of movement, a lot of cars, single file, not really hooking, so that could be a while before we see them get involved. Most of your field is, in fact, single file, not all of it, apart from that front group. So 3 cars up there, they're the only ones up there, and, well, 3 cars versus the field doesn't sound like odds I like, but when the leaders keep making changes like they are at the moment with the 3 and 12, anything's possible.
Yeah, and looking through just the rest of your field, like you said, because everybody is all a single file here, it could just be a huge disaster for Jorgensen if he can't get more help. I mean, yeah, the top side's a little bit better, but if you don't have anybody up there helping you, you're not going to be able to do a whole lot. But there goes Corey Henry up to the top side now. He's going to try and get help from Jorgensen, and you see that top line, they get a couple more cars, and all of a sudden they're a huge threat to drivers, a lot of drivers on the bottom side, a little bit squirrely. You got Brandon Chaburko going into turn number 1, but you can see on the top side, even that 4th car helped them massively here, and Corey Henry is able to at least keep pace here. They get 2 or 3 more cars up there, Rachel, and they'll be able to blow by basically everybody.
Yeah, that's exactly what I expect to see really at this stage. It's one of those positions where they just need to be patient, and when they do this, it will pay off for them. It's going to be nice and simple to do. Now, interesting point here, Cisco. We've been clean and green for a while. Do drivers pit now, top that tank and have one to the end here? Or do they splash and dash at the end? Do they think, yeah, we're probably going to get a caution? Will that caution tide them over 3 or 4 laps of fuel? Probably not quite. So are they expecting something to happen and break up this first stint, or are we going to be seeing people blink at the end?
I think we'll have to find out. I think for these guys, it's going to be run until it goes dry, at least from the body language I'm seeing on track. You know, with them going too wide and everything, it looks like everybody's kind of all pitting together, or at least the packs that we usually see pit together. So you'll probably see Wofford, the 12 of Corey Henry come down, Piscini, Basilia is probably going to be a part of that, as will Jorgensen. I'd say a second pack is probably going to be Josh Hanner and Brandon Chaburko, Jason Altman, some of those drivers. Probably can add Rod Flag to that group as well. So you think you're going to see a bunch of packs. Got a little bit squirrely back there. John Lipke going to go to the top side, and it's Brandon Chaburko got very loose and is going to drop back through the rest of your field. Up on the top side, Jason Altman's going to capitalize, get around the 51. And as for Lipke, all alone on the top side, no help for him. He's going to be heading straight to the back, and once again, the 8-car breakaway.
Yeah, that's what they really wanted here. That front group there of 7 cars just completely pulling away from the field. 3 is going to drop down, as will probably the 88 to the inside here. Those 2 will come down together in front of Corey Henry, but I think the gap will close just in time to block off the 88. No, 3 waited too long to stay up high. He wanted just himself to get that position. Didn't want to help Jorgensen down to the low side. So, oh, there it is. And of course, Cisco, I believe we actually have a deal for people asking about how to get into iRacing, and I think we have 1 or 2 of those.
Yeah, we'll touch on that more during the midway race break once we hit the halfway portion of the race, as we run through the track right now. For those of you wondering how you can be a part of the action, well, it's a little bit complicated because the Superspeedway Cup website is down right now. So, I mean, you could probably you could find them on iRacing. They are under the iRacing leagues, but I'm not sure how and if, in fact, you can actually join the league during the season. So what we're going to have to do is probably message Rod Flag, the driver of the 23. There he is on track right there, and shoot him a message on iRacing. I'm not sure you're going to be able to join in this season, but coming up for next season, once the website's back up, that's going to make that a whole lot easier, and that's over at Superspeedwaycup.com. Crossing lap number 14 there into the books, starting lap number 15 here, and we're rolling through already about 1/8 of the way through the race so far here, and it's been all Rodney Wofford and his group at the front. You can see 5-car breakaway right now.
Certainly can. That small group has already broken clear as they wanted to, in fact. And, well, back to 6 again. I'm not sure how you keep seeing 5, Cisco, but we have got, in fact,
they keep kind of falling off screen a little bit. So.
I think they do a little bit, but there is 6. We've got the 3, 12, the 77, 94-1, and 88 here. And those guys have been pretty consistent so far, staying at the front of this field. And, well, it's looking pretty exciting for what these guys can do. I think it's going to be one of our winners up here, but you never know what happens in this series. That's a beautiful part, this. Always varies up. Now, these are the only guys 2 wide here. The rest of the field single file. 3 of them going to have to make a choice in about 4 laps' time to drop back and pick in a spot, because pit stops are coming.
Yeah, pit stops are going to be on the board here in just a little bit. Looking forward to see when these guys decide to make that move. It should be right before the halfway of the halfway, so looking at about laps 19 through 23, I'd say, or so, are probably going to be when we see these guys come down pit road. So we'll have to see when they decide to make that move. Everybody staying on track, though, at least for the moment. And that breakaway is all but gone now, because you can see the 87 of Ray Rittenauer, the second, those neon yellow numbers. That's a little bit of a change here, but still the classic Ray Rittenauer white paint scheme still on track, and has brought along Josh Hanner and Jason Alkins with him. They see a little bit of a gap to Brandon Chaburko and Scott Warren in the 46 of Richard Reagan Jr. Then another gap back to PJ O'Leary, Rod Flag, etc. That kind of mini pack there of about 6 cars or so. So Andrew Berger back there as well. Back to turn number 3 once we go again. And Rodney Wofford continuing to lead the way on the bottom side.
Yeah, he is, and Rodney Wofford doing a fantastic job of that. The field a little bit squiffy, but they're not doing too badly in general here, as I want to make sure they have a nice spot secured for this. But oh, a bit of a wobble there for the 12 as he gets a bump from the 88 there coming out the tri-oval. Trying to get a little bit more aggressive than they have been in the past, and bring a new contender up here. That's the 87 of Rittenauer second. I do apologise there. It's got himself involved here. Swapped out for Basilia. Now Bassini's dropping back to try and find a slot here as the couple of laps to go. He wants to find a nice place here to get in the pit road. 2 of them left fighting on the top side. Probably not going to do them much benefit now with only 2 cars.
Yeah, no kidding, and that tells me that they're going to be coming down pit road momentarily here, and everybody making their way through turns 3 and 4. Do we see the dive? No, I thought we might see it, but nope, not going to happen this time. So looks like Jorgensen and Henry still trapped up on the top side. So come to complete lap number 18 there, starting lap number 19, and Wofford, I think he's probably going to be one of the first groups in here, Rachel, just from the fact that he's leading the rest of the field. I don't think anyone behind him is probably going to pit unless it's a whole group of cars. And that's your last guys up on the top side have all gotten to the bottom side. So now at this point, we're just waiting for pit stop. Scott Warren, the only driver up on the top side in any aspect right now. So he's probably going to wait a lap here once the majority of these drivers come down pit road. And we'll have to see if everybody makes it down okay.
Absolutely. I think that would be the critical part for make it down safe. Don't get too excited with what could happen here on the racetrack. And they're all preparing now just to stay here, not really going to fight each other. Now they're just thinking about getting that entry right, and at these speeds, well, it could be a challenge, and I expect a couple of missed stalls and a couple of missed entries here this time, because it's been a while since we've been in this layout.
Yeah, it has, but I think this is one of these layouts, Rachel, that you never kind of forget how to drive. You have to almost drive with a little bit held back because of just how much you're moving around on this racetrack. I mean, on the onboard shots, we can see this has been much more bumpy than what we traditionally see at Daytona 2011. So for these drivers, it's a case of just not giving absolutely everything. I mean, a race driver usually isn't going to give their 100% because they'll just drive over their head. Rod Flag going to come down pit road, and he's going to be the only one, and that could have just absolutely screwed Flag. He's coming down pit road all by his lonesome. That is a huge mistake for the 23.
Yeah, he came very early. I mean, he had it of fuel, didn't need to come. Maybe he thought people would come with him, but I guess they weren't feeling it.
I guess not, or it was a miscommunication, but looks like I think that tells me we're probably going to see everybody in this time, I would assume. I think Rod might have messed up one lap, but unfortunately for him, nobody decided to go with them, and that is all but going to take him out of the fight for at least this opening portion of the race. And cars faking down, and yep, they're all coming in right now. And a couple cars going to stay out. That's Altman's and Chaburko up on the top side. Josh Hanner's gotten loose, and he's lost the back end of the car sideways on pit road.
Oh, what a huge mess of cars there is. We'll have a look at that one again, but poor Josh Hanner. He has screwed the pooch massively. This is what happens when you get, well, I guess that's probably a good simulation of an artery during a heart attack, because sideways he comes in pit road and everyone blocks up and hits him and hits each other and can't make it past. There's your little medical moment for the night.
Yeah, and you see Hanner lock it up and just couldn't unlock the brakes there. Goes sideways right in front of Basilia, and then bam, the 0-2 right there. The 37 Spencer Pre and the 0-2 of Ryan Oates all get involved in that one. Luckily, that was way cleaner than it could have been, Rachel, and could have been a whole lot worse for a lot of these drivers. But the second group's in, and Jason Altman's just got booted on the pit road right there. Was able to hold on to it and somehow holds on to that car. You can see the 50 of John Ludke, and that was issues, I believe, with Berger coming down pit road. We'll get a second look at that.
Yeah, we certainly will. That was quite a hairy moment for them, and well, it kind of went a little bit wrong. Like I said, these guys have been having a couple of issues with this because it's been a while, and it takes a bit of practice to remember these pit road speeds.
Yeah, and Berger just, once again, he had the same issue Hanner did, just didn't have the brakes locked down, wasn't able to unlock them and kind of woe himself up, and you can see the 97 get punted, and then into John Ludke, that number 50 car, and then to make things worse for Altman's, had problems getting into his pit box as well, so that's massive issues for him, as cars do come out of pit road right now. It looks like the field going to be in control, at least for the moment. Brandon Chaburko, your provisional leader, but that's all going to change when you see this big pack behind him come and blow past. Those will be your leaders. And you can see Rodney Wofford, the Oreo Chevrolet, going to blow by here. He'll be your leader after pit stops, after your first round of pit stops, that top four. Rodney Wofford, Mark Jorgensen Jr., Richard Reagan Jr., and Corey Henry have all broken away from everybody else. That's your lead back.
It is, and that's exactly what they wanted to have happen. And this means, of course, when you get that green stop, it just makes you more likely to have a further green run in this thing, because the cars are so split up, Cisco, like you're seeing, that it's almost impossible for you to have a big wreck unless someone makes a stupid mistake.
And that's nearly a stupid mistake in front of the drivers. That was a car got very loose. Wasn't sure who that was. It was the 52, Sean McCarrick, coming off pit road and nearly went around. We'll get a second look. And he had a huge bobble in front of your leaders and went down to the apron, I think, to try and get out. Oh, no, he actually caught the wall. We'll get a second look at that, but caught the wall going down the straightaway, and massive issues for the 52. Nearly got up into the leaders, but yeah, I don't know what he was doing, but got up into the wall, came down, and nearly looped right in front of your leaders. They went around safely, though, so that could have been huge.
Could have been indeed. That was nearly a major disaster. So one to be well avoided. But yeah, that was sketchy. This is something that happens when you've got cars coming on and off the road at different times. And this field will shake itself out, and a four-car lead group, they're sitting very pretty for the end of this stint.
Yeah, and then you have 2-3 cars or so that are in the secondary pack. You got the 76, Scott Warren, the 77, Michael Cozy Jr., and then Chubb Hart in the 51. And then back, you got John Lidke on the middle of no man's land. Then you got Mike Schultz, Rod Flagg. So Rod actually kind of worked out for him. He was able to hang on to Mike Schultz, and it actually kind of worked out. And then Dan Harrington, Daniel Holloway, Corey Smith, Spencer Preet. What I'm really wondering is we have this big pack of drivers back here. Chris Passini, Frank Basilia, Ray Rittenauer. That's where those guys ended up. They're back in 15th, 16th, and 17th. So these guys had massive issues. Lost a lot of time on pit road.
Yeah, they really did, and it's going to cost them, unfortunately. And that's one of the downsides of this sort of racing is you end up with that positioning. You end up with guys running out of sequence and running off position, and it's the nature of a green flag sequence. You gotta hope you get it right, and this is something that a lot of Superspeedway drivers don't practice. It's something they really should practice, because you screw this up, you're donezo.
Yeah, absolutely. And luckily for these guys, they'll have the halfway break at the halfway portion of the segment. And as we're kind of at the halfway of the halfway, we're going to take a moment and step aside here on LSRTV. You're watching Daytona 07 here for the Sunwest Construction Superspeedway Cup Series, going LSRTV non-stop. so you don't miss a moment of the action. Back in a moment here on iRacing Live. Caution on track here at Daytona 07 as we bring it back. It looks like issues with Dan Harrington in the 82. We'll take a second look and find out what happened, and it looks like big-time issues around Rod Flag and a couple other cars. Welcome you back here to the Sunwest Construction Superspeedway Cup Series. Cisco Scaramuzza alongside Rachel Whiteford, and looking like it, they go 3 wide into the turn there, Rachel. No, they don't actually, and the 82 actually up. There you go, bumper hook off the 26 of Daniel Holloway, and all of a sudden that just sends the 82, and that's a single car spin, but enough to bring out our first caution of the night here and slow us back down at Daytona 07. That's going to save some of the drivers who were falling off, but for Dan Harrington, that's going to be a little bit frustrating.
It is indeed, of course, but a lot of those drivers who ended up a lap down, who had just been lapped, they're in a good position now. They get that way back. That's Monster Vice, McCarrick, field champion. Tiller, of course, will get 1 back. He'll only be 4 laps down now. A couple more cautions, he might be okay. But the rest of your field had, for the majority, actually completed their stops. So they're coming down now, because if they top off here, they're good to the end of this cycle. So they are now good to race to the end of our stage, which is very important for them, of course. And that takes the strategy call out of things. We're into a nice straight-up fight.
Yeah, Jorgensen,
oh, it's a 3, misses his box.
Yep. Wofford had a little bit of issues rolling into his pit stall. Jorgensen just going to get gas only. A lot of these drivers gas only. You see the pit stops there, not much more than 7 seconds or so. Cozy had a little bit of a longer stop, but yeah, looking through, this is a case that's going to roll back through here. It looked like 6 cars staying out here, so that's why the positions are a little bit further. And I'm also happy because it means looks like my pit stop animation's finally working, so that's nice. But 6 cars going to stay out here. Yeah, TJ Buck through John Ludke through first.
Absolutely, that's definitely going to make things easier for them. We'll have to get things once this cycle back through for us. We can run you down your order after this caution, because a few of the positions have changed. We'll get those for you in a moment, but as it stands, of course, single car spin. We've still got basically everybody intact here, of course. The only cars really out of this thing, Paul Simpson Payne, Justin Devine, 25 and 27 laps down respectively. Austin Cooper did not start, so unfortunately he was a not a start and park.
Yeah, it was a DNS there for Austin Coop, and not making a lap here. But John Ludke stays out here and is going to inherit the lead. The second place, Mike Schultz, the 16. Then you got Frank Basilia in third, who stays out. Ray Rittenauer, the second, is gonna be the 87, gonna stay out here as well. He'll be fourth. PJ O'Leary looks like he's gonna come down pit road, actually, as is the 16 of Mike Schultz. So 2 of those 6 cars gonna come down pit road, and that final car that stayed out, TJ Buck, the 84. Also going to stay out. So you see those 4 cars on screen going to stay out. And then Mark Jorgensen Jr., the rest of the field behind them, all pit here to make sure they're going to be good to get good on gas here to make it the last. Well, right now it's lap 30. So when they come to the line, 15 laps or so before the end of, or before the stage caution.
Yeah, and like I said, that puts us in a perfect position to actually do a full-on stint here for fuel. And that's a big thing for them, of course. They want to make sure they're in a great spot here to actually get that run in, and to not end up needing to come down pit road for that sequence. Of course, like I said, it was going to be like 3-4 laps off in fuel. Not anymore. This is great for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for Ludke, Basilia, Rittenauer, and Buck, it's going to be very close. I don't know if 1 caution is going to be enough, Rachel. Especially keep in mind that not only do you have to have gas through the end of the when the caution comes out, but you also have to make it back to pit road as well. So you have to keep that in mind. You can't just run to the end of the stage like it's the end of the race. You need that fuel to get yourself back to pit road. Plus, you also have to keep in mind that the caution gets thrown at the end of lap 45 as well as after the 10th place car crosses the line. So you have to be paying attention to make sure that you don't run out of gas like as soon as you cross the start-finish line. That's not going to help you.
Yeah, absolutely not, and that's definitely not what you want to have happening, of course. But it's a situation where you could try and save, but it's not going to be enough. It's not really physically possible to save that much fuel and maintain decent race pace. So these guys obviously going to have to, well, they can go now. So this is all theoretical based on what would have happened, but, well, it's definitely changed things around.
Yeah, it has, and field going to get doubled up here. Pace car lights are out, so we'll run you through your top 10 right now. And we mentioned those top 4, Ludke, Basilia, Rittenauer, Buck. They all stayed out, and then Jorgensen Jr., Rodney Wofford, Corey Henry, Brandon Chaburko, Richard Reagan Jr., and Rod Flagg, your top 10 here. So we get the one to go signal from back at the start-finish line, and we'll go racing here when we get back to the start-finish line. That'll be at the beginning of lap 32 here. So getting sort of close. It's going to be about 13, 14 laps here before the end of the stage caution.
Certainly is, and well, we'll have to get that up in order, but the racing should be pretty intense from here, so I'm not going to rule out another caution actually at this stage, because these guys know they can race hard, which means, unfortunately, they will.
Somebody asking in chat when icebreakers start. We still got plenty of RSR racing here. The icebreakers run opposite the Full Throttle Cup Series, so we've got plenty of time before icebreaker starts. That'll be back in November, so yeah, that's a while till then. We have to worry about that. The Xfinity cars, of course, running in that series, but a lot of these drivers have been running in Full Throttle Cup, chief among which that driver running in that 5th position, Rodney Wofford, the Good Wrench Chevrolet, and as well Rod Flagg, another driver who makes it happen, double duty on Mondays as well as on Fridays. But John Ludke going to lead the field back to the start-finish line and head down the short chute here. The iRacing.com Ford Mustang pace car going to get set to make the left-hand turn down pit road. It's going to do so here. John Ludke going to be on the loud pedal here. First restart, and we are re-green from Daytona.
Indeed, and it's a good start by the front. Probably 12 cars here actually at this point, Cisco. Getting a great launch off the line, starting the 97 of Ottman's, but, well, a little shaky off the start. The Basilia the third just dropping back a little bit of Ludke, but it's a shaking our order up now. We've got a bunch of drivers up here that weren't there before. TJ Burke, of course, Basilia, Rittenauer, Ludke. Let's move things around and we'll make things kind of interesting. Rodney Wofford back in 6th, of course. He really suffered from missing his box, having to reline up, of course. That's a huge hit.
Yeah, and Wofford going to have to drive through a lot of your field here, but Ray Rittenauer is able to take the point here, at least for the moment. The nose is out in front, but the SS on the bottom side. John Ludke going to be able to hold on to this one and get his 4th lap lead here of the day. Rittenauer does have help going from Frank Basilia. It's not enough to overcome Jorgensen Jr. Henry Reagan Jr. on the bottom side pushing. Up on the top side, the 84 TJ Buck and the 3 of Wofford, as we said. So not a lot of help up there for the 87 of Rittenauer, and he's going to start falling back in line if he's not too careful. A little bit of a bobble off the apron. Does come the 88 and the 50, but they're able to hold on to it and keep it on that bottom line. Ludke's now clear, as is Jorgensen.
Yeah, they are indeed, and they're not going to have any problems at this point, but top side falling apart really quickly here. Just going to have one lane again, and well, they're going to have to pick this pace up if they want to fight for this thing, of course. We're going to see that second line probably reform with different drivers, but right now it's going to be Basilia, and I think that's going to be, yeah, right now it's second. Yeah, outside the only 2 cars left up there, and are they going to find a spot, or will new guys come to join them?
We'll just have to see if anyone wants to make that move, Rachel. Looking at everybody, you know, we only got about 12 laps or so before the end of the stage caution, so they'll probably start dicing up with 5 to go. But I think for the moment, it's going to be a little bit of calm before the storm syndrome, as there goes Josh Hanner around. Caution going to be out here, and the Miller Ford Fusion goes for the spin cycle.
It is not his day. That's the second incident I expect he will have used as repair after his pit road plug-up. Gets hooked by, I think, Corey Smith that was behind him. I'm just going to have a quick look. No, Monster Vice hooks him. Unfortunate for him, but Brannigan's Monster Vice has hooks the back end there of Josh Hanna. That uneven hook. He's not been racing for a while, so he's not had time to cure himself with the old bumper hookitis. And it strikes.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing, Rachel. Brandon's been gone for a while, so that was classic case of bumper hook, and just, you know, it's a case where he hasn't been in the car, so probably hadn't gotten it out of the system like you said. And then Sean McCarrick, who dived to the inside, got basically blindsided, thought he was going to clear Hanner, and then whammo right there into the right front. McCarrick was able to barely hold on to the car, so good job by him, but not at all what he was expecting there, getting blindsided by some Ford Fusion there. So that's not a lot of fun. But what that does mean, Rachel, is the fact that more laps under caution could save the strategy for Ludke and the rest of those drivers who stayed out, TJ Buck and Ray Rittenauer as well.
Certainly could, and that would be a big advantage for them if it does, in fact, save it for them. Interesting to see how it does work out for those guys, of course, as they will get themselves back onto lead lap positions, of course, and that can help them. But again, more cautions just helps keep some of those guys who were up at the front because of pit cycle, helps keep them further forwards, and less laps means it's harder for the guys who want to get forwards to make advantage.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And, you know, coming to the stage caution, it's not like you have to go out and win the... I mean, obviously you want to win the stage because playoff points, and playoff points are amazing. They're glistening and have, like, I think candy on them or something like that. But it's still the stage caution here, so you don't want to tear up your equipment going for a win. And we've seen it in the past where drivers have gone a little bit crazy trying to go for the playoff win. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on here, is you don't want to overdo it just for the playoff win. We've seen races come to an end trying to get that before. I think it was actually last time we were here, cars went scattered to the infield just to try and beat them out for the stage caution, and I think it was Seth who ended up holding on to that car. But yeah, things can get a little crazy on Friday nights coming to the playoff win if you don't kind of buckle down and kind of save your equipment a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys, some of them have nothing to lose, some of them have everything to lose, and they don't really communicate too much.
Yeah, and this is going to be a case where coming to the green flag, we're within 10 laps to go at this point on the stage, so it would stand to reason that these guys probably not going to wait around too long before they start making moves, your top 5 or so. If I'm, you know, Brandon Traburco on back 8th or so, really for me, if I was driving, it's just not worth it to come from back there. You know, give yourself a chance to be able to make something happen. Don't jump out of line and either get left for dead out on the top side or get wrecked. So I'd play it nice and safe here, and right about, I'd say where Piscini is right now is where I'd want to be. I don't know if I necessarily want to be in the top 5 unless I knew I had a car fast enough to go and win that stage. Apart from that, I'd kind of want to be in the mid-pack here, not getting too dicey up on the leaders.
Yeah, it's a good assessment, and it's a fair one, to be honest. You don't really want to get into trouble at this phase of the race, but there's a lot of race left to go, so these guys have still got plenty of room to race this thing out.
And racing room's one of the interesting things about Daytona 07, because this format, as we mentioned at the top of the program, you're right on board right here, your leader, John Ludke, and there's not as much space. You see that top line. Normally, you see where those line dividers up on the top side, those stripes. If we were at Daytona 2011, you'd have a whole lane up there. You don't really have that here at 07 because of the soft wall. So as a result, the safer barrier, I mean, up on the top side. So it forces these guys, it makes it 3 wide racing a lot more dangerous here at Daytona 07, but it also kind of forces everybody into a 2-line syndrome. So, I mean, you can make it 3 wide. It's just the back straightaway is probably going to be the only place where it's safe enough to do that, and you're going to want to fold it in as soon as you get back to the corner.
Absolutely, and you just want to make sure you're being safe with how that operates, because there's a real risk for it to just go south very, very, very rapidly. And it's not a situation you want to force yourself into or find yourself in by accident. So they need to be very careful about how they position the car and where it gets trapped.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely, if you get trapped on the top side, unless you're Brandon Jaburko or maybe Harry Tiller, nobody's to be going up there. And to report on what's going on with the 69 right now, he is down to just 3 laps and showing 2 laps actually right now behind. So he is actually looking like he is going to get his laps back here. That's mainly attested to the fact here, Rachel, that we don't really have any cars laps down. We have Sean McCarrick, who's sitting on pit road getting damage repaired, so he's probably going to be the only car at this point Harry Tiller's going to have to worry about. He's been very lucky, though, in the case here, Rachel, where he hasn't had to worry about, you know, lap cars not letting him get laps back. So Harry Tiller could be in a very good position here. I thought he was too far away, but you know what? I think he still has a chance to make it back onto the lead lap and start dicing things up here.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's definitely something he can manage at this phase, but got to be cautious about how he does that. It's very easy to make a mistake and, of course, to end up doing that, but Tiller's definitely got a chance here to recover himself, and I think that'll be a huge one for him.
Yeah, and down to just 1 lap behind everybody else. Reading like right now, at least as far as we're seeing. So we'll update you when he is when he's back on the lead lap. So look for that Pennzoil Ford Fusion or Sierra RS, I guess as it says on the front, to start dicing things up once again. But the pace car lights are off. This is your top 10 right now. John Ludke running in the first position, started 4th, has worked his way back up to the first position. Remember, stayed out during the last caution, stayed out here as well. Mark Jorgensen Jr., your pole sitter, running 2nd at the moment. Corey Henry up from 11th, running 3rd. 4th, Richard Reagan Jr. Started 19th and has worked his way up to 4th. Ray Rittenauer, remember, he also stayed out and started 7th. He's running 5th. 6th to TJ Buck, one of your biggest movers, started 23rd and also stayed out here and has worked his way up to 6th. 7th, Frank Basilia. 8th to Brandon Jaburko. 9th to Rodney Wofford. And Chris Bassini rounds out your top 10 as the pace car going to get sent to head to pit road once again. Field once again in the hands of the Rainbow Warrior. John Ludke got the rainbow colors on board. The Exalted Chevrolet. Green flag back in the air. We're racing from Daytona.
Here we are indeed, and that green flag flying back in the air as the field gets very hectic here. There's only 6 laps to go, and they are not holding back now. They know it's time to make a move here. Jorgensen drops down in front of Ludke there with Reagan Jr. Gives him a nice buffer over the competition, of course. Vasily the 3rd up on the high side, who's dropping back at the moment with not really quite the same power he had with those 2 in front of him.
Yeah, he's not quite had the mixed speed that he has had as of late, but now starting to get a little bit help from the bell. I guess he's thinking outside the bun on this one, trying to get a little bit of help here. And apparently Fast Food has taken over the broadcast booth just a little bit. But down the front straightaway, 3 cars have broken away from the guys on the top side. Ludke, not a great restart. Rachel kind of got stalled out a little bit on the restart. Not quite the gearing I think he wanted, and maybe a little bit off what he wanted, but nonetheless, the 50's managed to hang tough in 3rd right now, and Corey Henry trying to steal that away. Looking, you can see him look to the bottom side and trying to undercut the 50 when they come off the corner, but Ludke going to protect, and Corey Henry going to be stuck behind in 4th.
Yeah, he is, and nothing really he can do at the moment as all 51 drops down fast there. Jaburko slots himself in line, leaving 94 up there with the 1 and 3 a little bit further back. So he's got a long way to drop back before he finds some friends on the high side, but I couldn't tell if those friends are going to be fast friends.
Yeah, and Frank Basilia basically is falling out a little bit, kind of like those. He's run out of supply of speed, just like Session. I stretch it too much from this point. That one didn't work at all.
You could say he's run out of speed, just like they all seem to run out of the ice cream in that little flurry machine.
Or that they ran out of Szechuan sauce as well.
Never had that at McDonald's.
I think we're going to put the food puns in the fridge for right now, though. And
that sounds
so that was a little close there, Corey Henry. The Sun Energy Chevrolet got a little bit close there to Ludke. Ludke came off the bottom just a little bit. That car got tight. They were able all to hold on to it. Got very close, even a little bit of contact, but managed to stay in the throttle and keep everything okay here as we're coming towards the stage caution. Starting lap 42 here, so roughly going to have about 3 to 4 laps here before stage caution comes out.
Yeah, we are indeed, and well, 3 to 4 laps are all they need actually at the moment. As 52, they're dropping back. That's McCarrick. As yeah, looking at about it will be here we go, lap 45. So yeah, 3 at the line to go. End of lap 45, of course. Don't forget. But looking like the 12 and the 94, the 1 and the 3 making a bit of a surge on the outside here, and can get alongside Reagan Jr. They'll have a real contest on their hands, but can Jorgensen hold him off? He's won twice this season. Can he win another stage here?
I'll tell you what, Richard Reagan Jr. has been lurking around, had a great first pit stop, and has had what is arguably one of his best races in this series, running second right now, in a very good position as we head towards the stage. And going to be 2 laps to go here at the start-finish line before the end of the first stage, and sitting in a very good position. If he can jump to the top side and maybe get some help from Corey Henry, if those guys continue to fall back, might be able to do something with Mark Jorgensen. Question is he going to jump out there and risk it, or is he going to just stay in line and push the 88 out to the win here? But 2 laps to go before the end of the stage.
Yeah, it is, and it'll be a good chance for him to really demonstrate what he can do at this point. But Jorgensen's blocking already, takes it 3 wide, pushing the 12 up. He didn't want to go out of his way. Drops back down again to block the 94. Can this 3-4 car pack down the middle push him back clear of the 46 and the 50? I think it's getting a little tight there in 1 and 2. The 88 is dropping back, but he's got a good run of speed here. He should clear the 46 again, and by the time he drops down in front of Reagan Jr., that should kill the speed there for the 94. Kill the draft he gave him, let him hit a wall of air. Are they going to be clear by 3? No, quite, no. So it could be another lap yet. Jorgensen's playing his cards very tight.
Yeah, he is, and this has brought Richard Reagan Jr. into the perfect scenario. They just need a little bit more help on the bottom side, and they might be able to do something here. White flag going to be in the air here. So we come to start lap 45. It'll come at the end at caution, and Jorgensen sitting, hanging tough on the top side, but the bottom side seems to be working right now as Richard Reagan is going to pull even as they head through turns number 1 and 2.
Yeah, they do indeed, and this will be an interesting run to the end of this thing as looking for the end of this lap, and oh, the 94 is dropping the 88. Not going to give him the help he wanted there, as the inside has just more cars here. I think this is going to go to Reagan Jr. of all people, as here we go. A good push here by the 1 and the 51, pushing 88. Can he get it clear for the line? It's possible that he will be ahead of that line, but it's 10th place, don't forget, across the line to end the stage. And 10th place will come very fast in this size of field, but Jorgensen not going to make it. It's actually going to be Reagan Jr. When will the caution fly? The drivers all kind of easing off like they know it's coming. Caution should be out any second. We're waiting on that to fly. Here we go. Reagan Jr. wins his first stage.
Awesome job by Richard Reagan Jr., and definitely he'll be happy with that one. And as the caution flies, it just seemed like Jorgensen Jr. just lost all the help, and I thought Basilio was going to stay with him, but decided to take matters into his own hands. And the 94, keep in mind, I think he was one of the drivers who stayed out, Rachel, so it could have been a case where just wasn't sure. Actually, no, has come down pit road, so I guess it was just a case. No, actually, no, he did stay out, so yeah, I wonder if it was maybe fuel conservation for the 94 was on his mind or something like that. But either way, Richard Reagan Jr. comes across the start-finish line. He's your leader as we come to pick up the pace car once again.
Yeah, we certainly do, and what an exciting end we had there to the stage. It's been a very clean race so far. You know, we did say there have been a couple of little bit of issues, but genuinely not that many. This has been an impressive stage so far.
And I think a lot of that, like we talked about at the top of the show, the drivers have kind of laid off the bumper hook, have kind of gotten away from that. And the 2 incidents we've seen, one of them was just a miscalculation in the corner, which, you know, happens. And the second one was from a driver who hasn't been here and kind of hasn't gotten it out of his system quite yet. So it makes sense that these guys, for the most part, have kind of finally found a grip on these cars. And it's funny because I'm not sure if these cars are going to be around for next season, if we're going to be switching to the Xfinity or the truck. But it's interesting to see that, you know, halfway through the season, now we're kind of starting to see a little bit more of a kind of calmer yet smarter racing, I guess.
You know what I'd like to see, and this is just my 10 cents for the series, of course, but what I'd like to see here is them go Daytona, Talladega, Daytona 07 in the Cup cars, then Daytona, Talladega, 07 in the Xfinities, then Daytona Talladega 07 in the truck, and cycle this thing. Let's make it interesting.
I don't know about that, Rachel. We'll have to see if Rod's up for doing that. And just as I said,
Rod,
the pit road graphic was working, it broke. So go figure. But cars on pit road right now, being led by Mark Jurgensen Jr. He'll slide into his pit box here. Got the three of Rodney Wofford right there. Ray Rittenauer the second going to roll through pit road. And right side's up on the 88 here. Everybody going to get tires and fuel, looks like. And it's going to be the 51. Looks like Jaburko wins the race off pit road. Then you got Reagan Jr. and a whole mess of cars behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're going to get themselves off pit road here and get themselves sorted out. We'll have that running order for you once they get themselves shaken into position. Definitely looked good though for Reagan Jr. and of course I believe at the moment the 51 who will be leading this time by, so Jaburko will be in the lead for this restart.
Well, two cars stayed out as well, Rachel. The 87 of Ray Rittenauer and the 18 of Gary Champion. So not quite the lead yet for Chubb Hart. We'll have to see if Rittenauer, I would assume Ray's going to come down pit road since he's got basically no gas in that's left in that car. So might have just been trying to lead a lap here. And for Gary Champion, I'm thinking the same thing, though he has been down pit road, according to the timing stats here, 7 times so far this race. So, and this has only been a 3-lap stint, so you know what that tells me, Rachel. I think Champion came down right before the caution came out.
It's not a bad call for him. He doesn't lose a lap.
And it worked out because we're at a track big enough. We're at a track big enough, Rachel, to where if you can make that pit stop and it's like a splash and dash or something, you're going to be able to stay in front of the field here, and that's exactly what Champion did, and as a result has rotated back up to the lead.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a brilliant decision he's made, so a fantastic choice in that sort of position to make tactical advantage of what you have.
Yeah, absolutely. And as the field has come by here, it's updated for us. So we're going to run you through your LSRTV Midway Race Break, brought to you by iRacing, the official racing sim of NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, and many more. And from the beginning, iRacing has been a centralized racing and competition software, and of course has been the partner for all of these different series as well, the Cars Tour, and many others. But right now at the lead, it's Ray Rittenauer II, Gary Champion, Brandon Jaburko running third. Fourth right now is Richard Reagan Jr. Fifth to Rodney Wofford. Sixth is going to be Frank Basilia III. Seventh to Jason Altman's Jay Riot. Eighth going to be Chris Passini. Ninth is going to be Michael Cozy Jr. And rounding out your top 10, Spencer Preet.
11th place tonight, Mark Jorgensen Jr. there from second place on that run to the end. John Ludke, Scott Warren, Andrew Berger. Rod Flag in 15th place with Corey Henry, TJ Burke, Josh Hanna, who's still somehow running, Daniel Holloway, and Ryan Oates.
And 21st right now, Corey Smith. 22nd to Dan Harrington. PJ O'Leary running 23rd. 24th to Mike Schultz. Brandon Cruz Montevise running 25th. 26th to Mike Thiel. 27th to Sean McCarrick. 28th to Harry Tiller. And 29th going to go to Austin Coop, who's already left the server. And Chris Patton rounds out your top 30. And Justin Levine and Paul Simpson Payne round out the rest of your field. But that's been a look at your iRacing Midway Race Break. For more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities online, you can go to iRacing.com and sign up today. And for those of you who were talking about earlier who wanted to get into the sim, well, if you go to iRacing.com/membership, there's plenty of deals there. It can get you on the sim for cheap and to hop into some of these VW Beetle GRC cars, which are free to everybody on the sim. That's one of the many cars and tracks available here to new first-time members. Don't even have to buy them. You get them as soon as you drop some money on an iRacing.com membership. But the pace car lights are out. And Rachel, we're getting set to restart once again here from Daytona.
Yeah, we certainly are, and of course racked and stacked, ready to roll here at Daytona 07. Bit of historical time travel racing here for these guys, and oh, lap 50 already. This race has flown past tonight in absolute typical fashion. Go for another 40 to go, and these last 40, I think, let's go. They're going to get interesting.
Yeah, and keep in mind, we still are waiting on a pit stop here as well for these guys in that group, in that lap group as well. So we're going to have that up as well. It looks like the 87 of Ray Rittenauer pulled it down pit road to get service to that car. So yeah, you can see him on pit road right now and service right now going on that car, and that means Gary Champion is going to be in command of the field here, and Brandon Chaburko back up front. And he was kind of struggling last week to lead a lot of laps, but he's up here now, and the Taco Bell entry is going to make things spicy up on the top side.
Well, if it's the Taco Bell entry, let's just say it'll probably be okay for now, but later it's going to cause some real troubles. Someone had to do it.
Stop tonight,
someone had to do it. It's a Taco Bell car. It's great for now. It's really bad later. That's a given. We have Taco Bell in this country. I'm aware.
And on that note, Gary Champion going to lead the field back to the start-finish line. Green flag in the air, and Chaburko's starting the pinch game already. Basically all down, clamping down on the 18 of Champion, and they make a little contact right there. Welcome back, Brandon Chaburko. Yep, we're back to it as per usual. And contact through the corner. Yep, the 18's not happy, and there he goes.
That I saw happening since the drop of the flag, and the field is toast thanks once again to Brandon Chaburko. As body panel slapping with the leader off the start. He did not want to give a quarter, pushed it below the line. That fault has to go to the 18 for pushing him down. He comes back up again, and, well, that was predictable. Gotta say it. A lot of junk on the racetrack, and it's kind of the 51's fault.
It was a little bit of a tap from Richard Reagan Jr. as well that sent the 18 up, but that should have been controllable. I think Chubb's just got in his head a little bit, and Champion just kind of snapped. So we'll find out, I'm sure, in the post-race what happened there, or in the comment section. It's going to be one of those too. But either way, we're back to the status quo here. And after all of that carnage, Richard Reagan Jr., who basically watched that happen in front of him, gets away kind of scot-free here, and he'll be leading here and pick up right back where he left off here before the end of the stage.
Yeah, he really will, and someone in the comment section saying, typical Chubbs. Yeah, I could agree with that.
Pretty much, and
don't mind being diplomatic sometimes, Cisco, but yeah, typical Chubbs. As you're right, yes, Richard Reagan Jr. up front there with the pace car, as they'll get a chance to reset here, and we'll just knock off another 4 laps from this last remaining 40, as that caution was basically, yeah, let's go green and back to yellow.
Yeah, and as they do pace here under caution, we're going to take a moment to step aside here, and you're watching the Sunwest Construction Superspeedway Cup Series. We'll be back in a moment here on LSRTV, iRacing Live, LSRTV, your home for sim racing. Be right back.
I'm driving the number 20 JGR Toyota Xfinity car this weekend. Really great opportunity here at New Hampshire at my home track. Over the past 2 weeks, I've been on iRacing, practicing a little bit here and there with the modified and the NASCAR Xfinity car. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great tool for me to kind of get used to that stock car body again and be prepared for the race today. Well, yeah, it's a mile long, so the draft kind of plays into effect here with the modifieds, punches a big hole in the air, and we run restrictor plates. So it makes a big difference. Just really fast, and it's our Daytona. So that's what's great about it, and we have a fast car for tomorrow. I think the biggest thing is they're heavier cars. The tire's a lot different. And the way you go about setting them up is a lot different. They use all 4 tires more than a modified, where we typically drive off the right rear, you know, so. Well, actually, it's funny. I raced NASCAR race in 2003 before iRacing came about. And then when iRacing came about, My friend Kevin Ironarelli, who works at iRacing, kind of told me, hey man, you need to switch over to this. And when I did, I was like, oh my God, this is like real life. So I started using it as a tool of mine to really prepare for modified races, whether it was Stafford or Thompson or Loudon, Bristol. And then obviously the Xfinity Series last year, going to road courses, trying to get laps and use it as a tool that can get me as prepared as I could be without actually doing it. So it's been great.
Back live here at Daytona 07 as we collect the one to go signal from the start finish line and get ready to stack things back up here at Daytona as we are under our third calamity caution here on the evening. Rachel Whiteford, Cisco Scaramuza along with you, and some aggression on track, some wrecked race cars, and after all that mess, we're gonna get ourselves stacked back up here, ready to go back racing. Your top 10 runs as follows: Richard Reagan Jr. running first, second to Frank Basilia III. Third is Michael Cozy Jr. John Lutke running fourth, fifth to Corey Henry, sixth to Ryan Oates, seventh to Andrew Berger, Chris Passini running eighth, ninth to Mark Jorgensen Jr., and PJ O'Leary rounding out your top 10. Some casualties from that. You see one driver who's laps down is Ray Rittenauer the second. Harry Tiller is still one lap down, and Justin Levine is 18 laps down. And then drivers who are completely out: Gary Champion, Chris Patton, Paul Simpson Payne, and Austin Coop. Everybody else on the lead lap, at least as far as their state of their cars, depends on if they had a reset or not. But Rachel getting set to go back to the green flag here.
Yeah, we certainly are, and getting ready for that restart we are certainly preparing for. As, well, things could have been a little bit better with that one, but at the same time, we're going to do exactly what we need to do, of course, in this phase and make sure things operate as they should. But, well, we're going to find out in no uncertain terms very shortly what will occur, and green flag will fly. Back racing green here at Daytona.
And a good restart by Richard Reagan Jr. He was kind of swerving around a little bit, but seemed to find enough traction to get that car off the line and get the whole shot over Frank Basilia III. And Frank trying to get a little bit of a McLine up on the top side with help from John Lutke, and the 0-2 of Ryan Oates, the FedEx Express Camry. We've seen him. He's a relatively new face in the series, and as a result, it's gotten thrown in at the deep end here, Rachel.
Yeah, it has indeed, and he's doing a pretty good job with this so far, actually. He's having a really, really good run, and so far things tend to be behaving themselves. I'm kind of surprised / impressed, but it's all going vaguely to plan, as if there actually is a plan.
I don't know if there's a plan, but it looks like there's at least a little bit of an agreement, and it seems like the drivers have been favoring that bottom side just a little bit more than usual. So I'm curious what the what the reason to change to the bottom side was, but nonetheless, it's Richard Reagan Jr. getting help from Cozy Jr. The two juniors down on the top side. The third junior, if you're wondering where he is, there he is. Mark Jorgensen is running in 9th right now behind the eSport Feeds Chevrolet of Chris Bassini. That's still brand new paint scheme for him. That's still throwing me off. It's not Pennzoil. It's rocking my world a little bit.
Absolutely, and well, let's hope it doesn't rock it too much for you. But as it stands, they're all managing to keep things fairly sedate for the time being. Looking at Cozy Jr. up there. 77 car's got his way to the front where he wants to be. 88's worked himself back into this lead group along with the O2. And also the 1. So these guys could all have something really good going off here in just a short period of time. And the 3 bring up the rear of the pack. It's all the old boys.
Yep, and surprising to see the O2 be able to find some help up there. Generally, when we've seen a lot of these new drivers, it's been, all right, yeah, you got up here, and as soon as you get a chance, the veterans will leave you out to dry, and you'll go straight to the back. So for Ryan Oates, has found a little bit of help with John Ludke, so that's cool to see. And Ludke's kind of been ditched a couple times today, and yep, as I said it, see Oates and Ludke up there all alone. And as I figured, Bassini, the rest of the vets, going to go to the bottom side.
Yeah, it was almost predictable at that point, Cisco, but it made it function for now, so we'll give them the benefit of the doubt in terms of how this thing plays forwards, but they've got things working, so we'll give them that. This race, though, has a lot of potential for, shall we say, error. Is that the word I'd go for? I think it is.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. We still have plenty of racing left to go, so I agree with you, though. Everybody back single file here, so at least for the moment, I think things relatively calm, actually. And we've had a lot of green racing here today, Rachel, so I don't know if I'm necessarily on the same thought train as you are. I think everybody, you know, aside from the whole track being very bumpy, everything's looking to be relatively calm right now.
Yeah, it does seem to be, so perhaps the future might be a little brighter than we imagined, but the track is staying very calm as 50 and the O2 are the only ones really left up top in the front group there, and we could be looking at a green flag run here, and based on the number of laps they've had, I think that was about 55, we got back to green flag conditions, so we're looking at about 78, 76 or so.
Yeah, that sounds about right in terms of pit stops, so I think we're going to look for these guys, and from there they can make it no problem because it's only about 14 laps before the end of the race, or what am I talking about, 24 laps before, no, I can't do math, it is 14 laps.
Eventually we'll math properly.
Yeah, the problem with being a lead commentator is everything turns into Evan math, and Evan math is known to have a statistical error of about 1,000, so.
That is true. That is absolutely true.
And also the other thing throwing me off, for those of you who haven't realized that, yes, we have a new graphics package, and the thing with me not figuring out when the stage comes out is because if you remember the old graphics package, in the lap blank of 90, went off laps completed. This one goes off laps currently being run. So that means I have to subtract everything by 1 in my head now. So, or add 1, yeah, subtract everything by a lap here to how I'm used to calling races. So it's been a little bit of an adjustment for me to make sure I'm calling out the right laps here. So that's why I've been kind of thrown off lately, but been loving the new switch over to the new operating software with ATVO, and still lots to come for us here on LSRTV with the graphics package. Of course, looking forward to having our first full release. This is kind of the beta / Cisco got rushed release, so looking forward to the full release here in the not too distant future. And during the summertime, we'll have plenty more coming on LSRTV in terms of graphical changes and all sorts of stuff. Part of the brand new branding that we're going to be getting here. Of course, we had it with the slogan, and a bunch of new stuff going to be coming on board LSR here coming up over the summertime. But if that's why everything's been a little bit different, that's why everything's been a little bit different. But one thing stayed the same at the front of the field, and it's been Richard Reagan Jr., who finished his 15th lap of the day and has been in control since the restart.
Yeah, he really has, and he's doing a great job of it so far. Oh, look, he gets very close to slapping the side there of the 12 Corey Henry. him and the O2 holding up on the outside, doing a good job here of maintaining and not really losing ground at this stage of the race. So impressive for them so far.
Yeah, absolutely, and kind of a breakaway here. You see Chaburgo back in 11th, then you got TJ Buck and Daniel Hull. That's your first 13 cars or so, and then back in the secondary pack is going to be PJ O'Leary, Josh Hanner, Brandon Monsivice, Scott Warren, and Mike Thiel. All these drivers back here running in the secondary pack. Then the tertiary pack is Corey Smith, Dan Harrington, and Sean McCarrick. That's actually, no, it's Dan Harrington, and then the 4 of Justin Levine, who's round about 23 laps down. So Levine, for all intents and purposes, not going to be in this thing, but 2 cars and a lap car then in your tertiary pack. But everybody kind of broken away this top 13 cars or so.
Yeah, they are for now, and they're going to try and hold on here and get themselves into a position where they can really compete with this. As 14 cars is a good front group to have, but they are kind of split up, which is useful. Everyone's staying fairly single file. About, if we say, just under 10 laps to go before they're in for fuel again, and this will be a 15-lap run to the end, so this will be their final stop, and if things stay quiet, it will be just that to the end.
I think I realized the pit stop thing is completely broken, so I might have to go and mess with that. Yeah, because
I'm doing math in my head, the old school way.
No, I'm saying the graphic is lucky gonna get turned. Never mind, caution gonna fly. Bumperhook.com, and around goes the Rainbow Warrior. Ludke out here, and that was just a nasty accident. I saw it happen right in front of us.
The worst part is, if they all pit here, they still can't make it to the end because they're 1 or 2 laps short. That was a horrible accident. You can see there on replay. Wow, just boing is all I can say.
And it was the case the O2. You see him go down to the inside, and that wasn't even bumper hook so much as that isn't the bumper hook we've seen where it's kind of the nose hasn't lined up. That was just a flat. He got turned because the O2 was just not clear on that top side, and kind of a rookie mistake there from Ryan Oates.
Yeah, absolutely. And really one he shouldn't have probably made at that stage, but did. And unfortunately, that is how the cookie crumbles sometimes, as he'll have to just handle what he had there, but a bit messy.
Yeah, and just the closing rate, you see right there for Ludke, just nothing he could have done there, and he was kind of getting backed up on the top side, so unfortunately for him, it's all going to end up in smoke as I apparently try to destroy my speakers yet again, and nonetheless, Richard Reagan Jr. going to continue to lead as he has, but like you said, Rachel, we're just short of making it on this stop here, and that's with, you know, the extra 3 laps of pacing we're going to have, so unfortunately for these guys, it's either going to be basically chomping at your nails to make sure you make it to the end, or you're going to have to stop again.
I think at this sort of stage, they may need to think about stopping again because the position they've found themselves in, it's not ideal, but they'll have to work with what they have.
And everybody's going to come down pit road, and let's see if the pit stop graphic, yes it is, it's back working, so it's self-healed. That's great, because we'll take a look, and Reagan leading everybody down pit road, and it'll roll into a stall. It's 5 cars this time being shown. That's great. So this will be interesting here. Your top 5 you'll be able to see on the pit stop time, and Jorgensen, 3 of Wofford in his stall. You see the 50 of Ludke, the modified looking car, and he's going to use his quick repair there, and gas and go for a lot of your field, as Dan Harrington and Jason Altman's going to stay out. Those two's going to stay out and not pit, or at least roll through pit road. So different looking top 2 there for the first time tonight.
Yeah, it really is, and that would shake things up a bit for those guys. Not ideal, but it's what they've really been dealt, so it can be thrown around, it could be modified and played with, but it's just one of those racing deals, I think, at this stage of the race, where it's unfortunate it got to this position, but they've done the best they have with what they have. Was that even English?
I don't know. I've been struggling with English tonight. It's, in case you haven't looked at your forecast, it suddenly went from like 30 degrees in Indianapolis this week to about 60. So, and we still have the heat on in the house, so I'm just trying to not sweat to death over here. I don't know how it's been in the UK. Probably raining, I would assume.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, it's good guess. It's kind of like Seattle in that respect.
Yeah, basically, that's actually a fair assessment. I could go with that.
Nonetheless, Jason Altman's is kind of dropping back here. I'm kind of curious what's going on with the 97 because Richard Reagan Jr. has gone around him here, and it's going to be 97 to pit road, maybe? Nope. He's just saving fuel, I guess, or something, or falling through the rest of your field, so something's wrong with the 97.
Yeah, not ideal for him there, but as it'll stand, of course, he's going to be out of sequence here. This will hurt his race so far, but I don't know. That's an unusual one from Altman's.
Yeah, Altman's going to fall back through your field. I thought he had stayed out, and it looked like, you know, his one benefit of track position is going to go right out the window here. So Altman's going to fall back through your field, and that'll leave Dan Harrington and Richard Reagan Jr., your top two. That'll lead us back to the field here. Quick run through of your top 10. Dan Harrington, Richard Reagan Jr., then Michael Cozy Jr., Frank Basilia III, Jason Altmans, who's kind of dropping like a rock right now. So Mark Jurgensen Jr. is going to be 5th. Then you got Andrew Berger will be 6th. 7th is going to be Rodney Wofford. Chris Passini is going to be 8th. Brandon Chaburko is going to be 9th. And then Ryan Oates is going to be 10th here once everything gets sorted out with Altman's. And yeah, Altman's falling back, just kind of falling back through your field here. So for him, he's going to have to start the tail end. And that basically kind of null and voids out him not pitting here, so he might have to come down here at the 1 to go signal to try and get enough fuel. And you can see Harrington down on the flat trying to save a little gas as well.
Yeah, he is, and that's, yeah, don't think you can save 4 laps under caution. You can usually get 2 laps back. 4 is incredibly optimistic.
Yeah, he's gonna need another caution is basically the only
Guaranteed.
way out. Yeah, so or Harrington's just gonna come down pit road, which is what he's gonna do. So that move, and Berger thought about it, but he fakes the pit road move. And looking through the rest of your field, Scott Warren gonna come down. It looks like PJ O'Leary's gonna come down pit road as well. So the back half of your field all coming down pit road to top up. They're gonna be in a lot better position here, Rachel. They should be able, maybe?
I think maybe, but I don't still think so. I think it's still just outside the window.
So for those guys, it's either you're going to have to save a bunch of fuel, which if you're at the rear of your pack, might make it impossible for you to save a whole lot of fuel because you're going to have to keep up with the leaders. We'll just have to find out. But yeah, everybody in fuel's conservation mode right now. We have about 5 different cars down on the flat right there. Chaburko not sure whether he wants to be on the flat or not, but Reagan was down there, Basilia 24, Berger was down there, Passini was. See, fuel's on the mind of absolutely everybody right now, and if we get another caution, that'll make it a whole lot easier for these guys because they should be good to go to the end. But as it sits, going to be on the bubble for pretty much everybody in your field, even those that came down pit road at the 1 to go signal.
Yeah, it's going to be so close. I think some guys might try and make it on fuel, but I don't know if that's even possible.
We'll just have to find out, but the running order has gotten shaken up, so the 2 juniors are going to start 1st and 2nd, Richard Reagan and Michael Cozy. And of course, Cozy, you can catch his POV stream over on his channel, WinVow8820, and he's streaming over there right now. I went in to check in and poke my head in, and he's having, of course, the usual Friday night shenanigans going on over in that, so you can check him out for his personal stream. But the pace car going to head to pit road, and Richard Reagan Jr. going to re-green us from Daytona.
Yes, indeed, and it's a good run by Cozy Jr. off the starting blocks there. Him and the 88 getting a huge run. Should be a good advantage to the backstretch. I expect to see the 77 at least drop down there, Cisco on to out of 2. But with the 3, the 51, and the 02 behind them, that outside line is way stronger than the inside.
You'd think that, and yet Richard Reagan Jr. has just cleared the 77 of Cozy, but we'll just have to see if that keeps up here. Reagan's still ahead, starting to lose a little bit of ground going down the back straightaway. They're now about even here as Junior and Junior up on the top side making things happen. And Reagan getting kind of freight trained up there. We'll have to see. It's about, no, it's not even. The bottom side just seems broken up. There it is, what we were talking about before. It's so much easier to get a line going on the top side, and it's going to work for Michael Cozy Jr. He's going to lead a lap here at Daytona. It's his 2nd one of the day. The 77 back out front.
yeah, kind of expected really from the height of there and the middle line being smoother that they could just hold it there. I mean, look at them. They're staying level with the leaders with just 2 of them. It's just as good really as being down low for the short distance, but the up and drop back here, just not quite as good when you've got someone like the 94 shoving the 46 out front. Those puns are not going away. Cozy Jr. though, hanging on by the skin of his teeth. They could do 1 or 2 people to help him, and he might actually have something.
Yeah, and Basilia McDive to the bottom there to try and hold that bottom side from Rodney Wofford, and you just have to, just to make the pun, Rachel, you just have to add Mick in front of everything, so he's going to give a Mick push.
It's a good pun.
Yeah, and it's a Mick push right now to Richard Reagan Jr. We could just keep doing this all day, Chaburko. A little bit of a weave there. Yeah, I think he got bored again because he just weaved way out of line as per usual and dropped back in line behind Piscini here just to try and make it look in the mirror just a little bit. It's all head.
You think he's
here.
Trying to Piscini him off?
No, that one doesn't work.
I thought it did. Never mind.
We'll gauge it to the comment section. Did that one actually work? We'll find out here. But Richard Reagan Jr. going to pull ahead with the continued big push from Frank Basilia III, and Rodney Wofford has been making a guys. I can't make it. I don't know what cookie puns I can make about Oreo at this point. So
you could say this is just how the cookie grumbles.
Yeah, except he's fine right now, so the cookie hasn't crumbled quite
Who's
yet.
our Oreo car again? I'm not seeing that one. Welcome to World of iRacing.
Well, you need to refresh your paints there, milady.
I do.
So
which number? What are we talking about? Just
3.
Which number? 3. Okay.
As there goes Basilia.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he's gone and had to go on the apron there and get out of traffic. So Basilia, either it was a cooling issue or a fuel issue, but either way, the value menu just dropped out from under him there.
It certainly did, and right now with his position, the 3, well, you could say he's the whitest up in the middle of the 2 halves of Mario right now, stuck between the 46 and 24 and the 77 up top there, as the 88 is going to go past as well. 3 wants to get up there, but he just has no room.
Yeah, and for Wofford, like you said, he is kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, or 2 pieces of an Oreo cookie right now. And someone who's kind of entered the conversation, and unsurprisingly has done it without us talking about him all night, Andrew Berger, 24 DuPont Chevrolet, who always seems to show up at money time. Always seems to show up at money time. He's not quite the closer because, well, he doesn't have a Jimmy John's car, so.
He's also not close to anything yet either, but yeah, well, everyone's names are food related or cars are food related. This is really making me hungry at this time of the morning. But Reagan Jr., could this be his first win this season? He's looking strong.
Yeah, he has, and has been one of the strongest cars out here. In general, this has been the strongest I've seen him drive in a very long time, and I'll pop up the score sheet here to take a look at his previous stats, but right now, Reagan Jr. looks to have one of the best leading cars right now. It's all well and good if you can have a good car that can push, but Reagan Jr. looks to have one of the best cars to lead a line right now, and just seems to be able to hold his line really well and allow those guys behind him. Either he's able to ride the brake a little bit more, or just able to sit there and let these guys catch back up to him.
Yeah, and it's all working out, which is fantastic to see, of course, but it's riding it out only works so far. There's a point where you just got to get up and make a decision, and this is one of the things we always see. People don't want to go to the outside, don't want to get involved until there's quite a big group, and it takes so much time to build that kind of confidence. And yeah, this line can go somewhere, guys. Join us.
Yeah, no kidding. And you can see Cozy Jr. up on the top side taking the traditional route with Mark, but just nobody else wants to do it right now. And Chaburko gonna get loose. He'll hold on to it, and that sent the 0-2 for a little bit of a bobble there, but that's the dangers of running on the bottom side, is the fact that you can get very loose as the 0-2 gonna make contact possibly with Josh Hanner. Hanner gonna spin out from the field. Caution flies again, and more issues, and what has been a very long night for Josh Hanner.
More issues than a copy of the Wall Street Journal. This has been one of those races, I think, tonight, and well, yeah, Josh Hanner's really not had the best of nights at all.
So we're going to wind this back. So the 0-2, you can see him, it was actually Jaburko got a little bit hooked by Ryan Oates there. And you can see the 0-2 try to hold on to the car, and these guys kind of hold up the racetrack a little bit. And it was, the 2, I think, thought he had a little bit more room there to Oates and just came down. So that was actually a self deal there from Josh Hanner and goes straight up in the wall. And oh boy, it has not been a good race here for one of the former champions of the series, and Hanner going to go for the spin cycle again, and got to be kind of frustrating for him just as this race has been going. But we mentioned, Rachel, that if caution came out, it was going to make everybody good to the end on fuel. That's precisely what happened. So that means for these drivers, good to the end, and you can throw fuel conservation out the window. Some might come down to get a top it off, but I think everybody gonna stay out here, and yeah, they are. So that tells us all we need to know, Rachel. They're good to the end.
They are, and this is what they really wanted. Again, like the end of the first stage, they're now in a position where they don't have to worry or think, and when they don't have to think, unfortunately, that's when things get exciting.
Yeah. That's for sure. And looking at it here, I dialed up the old stats because we have stats that we can look at here and double check and go across the whole of the league and check Mr. Reagan Jr.'s stats. But I believe we're looking at a driver who has not won, at least in the Cup Series. It's not won yet. So this could be a huge night for Richard Reagan Jr. We've talked to him once or twice, but is still waiting on that first win in this series. So if he could get it here at Daytona 07, this is a track that we've seen first-time winners at before, most notably with Brandon Monsivice a couple seasons back.
It is, and it's one of those tracks that really shakes things up because of that, and I like that. It gives us some very dynamic, interesting racing.
It does, and yep, no, he has not. Reagan Jr. has not gone to victory lane in the whole of Super Speedway Cup flats, and not the Truck Series nor DXT or anything. So this would be a huge night if Reagan Jr. can go to victory lane here. So we'll be keeping an eye on that 46, and we cut back to watch everybody go pacing around here. Somebody who's definitely on the other end of that spectrum, Rachel, is the driver of that 3 car, Rodney Wofford, who continuing to battle away with Chubbs for the most wins in this series of all active drivers. He is magic when it comes to this series, and has been for a very long time.
Yeah, he has been, and it's great to see that, and I look forward to seeing what he can pull off in this. And this one of the things I love about this series, Cisco, is the competition level is so high here, and that's phenomenal to see. You know, it's incredibly high quality racing, and we get to see all this amazing stuff happen every week.
And as far as wins, as far as we've been on Dan Lisa at least, so this is not complete results, but in the last recently, Wofford has won the most out of any other drivers right now. I mean, this is a guy who has a 13% win percentage across the whole of Super Speedway Cup. So that's how potent Rodney Wofford is. And he is Mr. Daytona, not quite Mr. Daytona 07, but a majority of those wins have come here at the World Center of Racing. So Rodney Wofford is a hard driver to bet against here as we enter the closing stages, and it's going to be 11 laps to go at the start-finish line here.
It is, and that's 11 laps. It's going to make it very intense racing here. They know they're up on fuel. They know it's only 11 and 10 laps. That's a lot of time for things to get exciting. This is normally the last 10 laps when we see things really get amped up, and I don't see that going to be any different.
And going back to your third place driver, Michael Cozy Jr., one of the newer drivers to the series, but has fit in very well, Mr. Winvow himself, and has basically used the MO of just kind of being around at the right time. Isn't super dramatic when he drives, but has been able to forge a lot of alliances with a lot of drivers in this series, and you know, is one of the more sociable. Obviously, he streams a lot when he races, so that kind of adds to that a little bit. But Cozy sitting in a good position as well, and has been working well with Mark Jorgensen Jr., one of the other main and Titan drivers in this series, who's won a lot. And of course, the 88 always a threat, last week's winner, and then Andrew Berger, the perennial champion in this series, has plenty of trophies on his mantle as well, and the 24 always a threat.
Yeah, absolutely. Always a threat when he's ever involved in this series, and it just makes it exciting, you know? It's this is the guy that could really put it to work and do what he has to do.
And to put it in perspective, Andrew Berger is the only 4-time champion in this series. That's how much he has won. Season 13, Season 11, Season 3, and then back in Season 1 as well. So that's how much success Berger's had in the past. Took a brief respite from the series between Seasons 14 and 15, I believe, and made his return. Actually, no, it was back between Seasons 10 and kind of around the 7 point. So back during the Superspeedway series days, and made his return back when it came back to Superspeedway Cup, and did it. He actually returned back in Season 10 and then ran in Season 11, 12, and so on, and has found a lot of success once again. So Berger, a very fast driver as well. And then Piscini, the guy who's basically been at the helm along with Rod Flagg in this series as far as admin duties lately. And keep an eye on that #1, who's also looking for a win here. Definitely could use a win to put himself. He's kind of been in the slump that Mark Jorgensen Jr. had a little while ago in terms of just not having things go his way. So you know that one's going to be desperate to go to victory lane here. But 10 laps to go and we get to the start-finish line, and Field going to be in the command for the 3rd restart of the day here from Richard Reagan Jr. The pace car going to head in, and final stage, last night of the race, and we go Route 3 from Daytona.
We do, and just how long is it going to be before we go back to yellow? We'll have to find out, but these guys should just want to manage it.
Yeah, we'll have to see if these guys can behave themselves. We'll just have to find out. The X factor, of course, is that 51 car. We'll have to see if he can behave himself or not. But
we'll see one thing, Cisco.
Yeah.
If they can't behave themselves, well, we've only got 10 minutes left on the clock.
Oh yeah, looking at that right now, that could be a factor here. It's as it sits right now, we should be good to go, but if we have another caution, that could slow us down potentially. So yeah, big factor in this race tonight. So we'll keep an eye on that. Caution flies, then we may be dealing with that. But as it sits right now, everybody's starting to spread out again, and the outside line not getting a whole lot of work right now.
No, they're not. They're just trying to get themselves in a position, but it's not quite playing their way. As they are trying to make it happen, it's just, well, it's falling apart entirely, is the only way to describe it.
They just can't seem to get a whole lot of momentum up there, so it just seems like when cars go up there, you'd think they'd be able to stay together, but the bottom side has been actually uncharacteristically staying together very well tonight. So that's been, I think, one of the major deals with why we've been seeing this bottom side do so well. And, you know, a lot of credit goes to Richard Reagan Jr. as, well, there's the mutiny. I said it was going to happen eventually. They all went to the top side, and Cozy and Richard Reagan Jr., the only 2 on the bottom. So go time it is, and it's 8 laps to go here, and there goes Andrew Berger with help from Brandon Chaburko.
Yeah, that's going to be a short-lived partnership, I guarantee you. But it seems as though, yep, everyone's mutinied against the 46 and 77. And it's going to be sayonara, boys. We're out of here as the entire pack drops them to the back.
Yep, and we said that outside line was potent. It just took us this long to see it. 94 going to get loose, and there they go.
That's a big one. There's a lot of cars go flipping down the track. You wanted the big one, boys and girls? You got it here as the 51 went up high and tried to come down again. Tapped the 94, who got tapped by somebody else. And, well, shenanigans.
Yep, and like you said, all started out with cars getting loose up on the top side. You see the 51 of Brandon Chaburko. You see the 24 actually kind of block him a little bit there, just a little bit too much, and they weren't able to get out the throttle behind him. And Reagan Jr. gets blindsided. Basilia gets blindsided. Basically, most of that front pack just absolutely destroyed, and you have to feel for Richard Reagan Jr. Race was going so well, and it all gets taken away right there.
One of those factors of racing where these things will just set you up for failure.
We got one last look at it here, and see the 94, yep, make contact, and the 24, the 77 made it through. Jorgensen stayed relatively unscathed. I say relatively. Corey Smith was able to get by, as was TJ Buck. So those are kind of going to be your players here, as we'll have to find out how much time we're going to have left on the clock. It could be a case where, Rachel, we may not even get a chance to go back racing here. We'll check in with one of the drivers and see if we can find out how much time is left in the session.
I can actually tell you that right now, as I will go into my car in the magic of F1. And I can tell you there's 9 minutes and 26 seconds left remaining in the session.
We may get an extra minute or two. If my guess is right, we could get an extra minute, maybe 2 minutes. So after all that, everything explodes, and sitting in the best position right now is Andrew Berger, obviously, but you got Cozy up there as well, Jorgensen Jr. third, Chris Bassini on the outside looking in. Either way, it's going to be a mad dash to the end of this thing. The question is, are we going to be doing it at 80 kilometers per hour, or are we going to do it at race pace?
That'll be the big question, won't it?
As we sit,
you actually wanted an answer. Sorry,
yeah, I want an actual answer.
Well, I think with the way things are going, I think we might see the caution, which will end us in the caution. That's my guess for today. Call me the skeptic of the evening.
I mean, it's going to be kind of hard to argue with that. So I do agree with you in that aspect. We'll have to see what these guys do, and looks like the pit stop thing is still going to be... Oh, no, it seems to be the lag's kind of worked itself out a little bit. You saw a little bit of the lag there on the replay last time by, but looks like we've worked everything back out this time. And if you're Chris Bassini, Rachel, still looking for that win, still wanted something, an interview, at least something. He was able to get one last week, but is still looking for that first win, and it's got to be frustrating. It's another, you know, outside the podium or just on the podium finish for him, and it's got to be frustrating at this point for Bassini, who has had speed and been in the right place at the right time, just with not enough time left.
Yeah, absolutely, and that does suck. I can really see how he feels with that one, but it's just one of those luck of the draw moments you get sometimes.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, and a good run right now, regardless of how this finishes out for TJ Buck, the 84 car. Talk about a driver who has not had good luck since coming to the series. The Cap and Crunch car has been involved in a lot of issues and just generally been shuffled out, and him as well as Corey Smith, I'd say both those drivers have not found their way in this series as much as they would like. And Corey Smith running another AMSOIL logo here, so wondering if there's a connection between him and Richard Reagan Jr., but also Scott Warren, that this is War Car, and we got his paint sorted out. That was a recurring gag last season, but finally got it sorted out on the 76. But decent run for him, decent run for Dan Harrington. A lot of drivers up here who aren't your top three having very good runs. Even Ryan Oates, who, you know, relatively newcomer to the series, running 10th. So all considering, a lot of the new faces, Daytona 07, we said it, a lot of the newer drivers seems to do well here, and it's paying off for a lot of them with a great top 10 finish for many of them coming.
It really is, and it's, yeah, kind of impressive to see this going this way. It's not what I expected perhaps in this situation, but these guys do tend to get, like you say, some better runs. It's just a little borderline in terms of just how well that will actually operate, but there's plenty of time to tell.
Yeah, still absolutely plenty of time to tell, and should be getting, I would assume, the 2 to go signal here. We'll have to see if the pace car lights go out and what the traffic over the radio is going to be. Berger going to come to the start finish line this time. Survey says no, lights are going to go out, in fact, so we will have some racing left to go here. And your top 10 goes as follows: Andrew Berger, Michael Cozy Jr., Mark Jorgensen, Chris Bassini, TJ Buck, Corey Smith, Scott Warren, Dan Harrington, John Lipke, and Rhino. It's your top 10. And Rachel, if you want to hop back in the car for a moment here, we're going to get the restart with 3 to go. How much time we got? About how much? I can't talk.
5 minutes and 10 seconds.
That should be enough here. I mean, if we go yellow, it's going to end. Yeah. 3 laps, it should be enough to get us to the end, or at the very least, time will run out on the last lap. So we should be good to the end here for these guys. And if the caution flies, well, then we're just going to enter caution anyway. So Looks like we're going to get to the end of this thing. 3 laps to go for Andrew Berger, who has led 4 laps, and it's been the 4 laps he's been in front after this caution period. So can he hold out and grab a win here in the Sunwest Construction Superspeedway Cup Series? Or is Cozy Jr. finally going to be able to break through and get his 2nd win on the season? He got one earlier at Talladega, has been wanting to add to that total. Or can Chris Piscini finally break the dry spell and go to Superspeedway Cup victory line? Or maybe it's somebody else. Is Corey Smith going to run into a little bit of issue? A huge checkup on the top side. That was random, but coming through 3 and 4, not a lot of time. Guys, get back together here because we're going to go green out of 4.
We are indeed, and people say why no green white check as well. That's just one of those downsides of the current system we have in operation, but you know what? Still going to be a great finish regardless.
Yeah, we'll have to... We are working on System 2 GWCs here. We'll see if we can work that out for next season. But green flag in the air this time, and it's going to be Andrew Berger on the loud pedal. Berger versus Cozy at Daytona. Looks a little bit of issues. Yep, there they go. And there's the wreck. Caution going to fly. It's a drag race. I don't know. I think Berger edged him out.
I'm just going to wind it back and take a quick look-see. But I think Berger was ahead the whole way, just. It's close.
It was a very close drag race there, and Berger going to pull ahead, and then looks like that's going to secure him the victory here from Daytona. As we go back, I saw it was a huge stack up around the 76 of Warren or so, and just things kicked off from there. Looking, yeah, it was a stack up, and the 02 actually going to get kind of bumper hooked a little bit there. We'll go back and take a look at it again there. You watch that FedEx machine, that 02. Yeah, and they all check up. Corey Smith kind of got checked up there. And then it was ultimately Tiller. It was TJ Buck. Yeah, it was Tiller, actually, that would bring out that final caution flag. And we'll take one more look at it again here and see if we can get a better angle. But, yeah, Tiller getting massively involved there. And caution going to fly. And, yeah, it was that checkup around the 50 where everything started to catch off. And Tiller tried to save the car and just couldn't. Also, Hanner gets in the wall, so even more issues for him. Ray Rittenauer the second. Wofford, lots of torn up race cars in the back.
Yeah, not ideal for them there, of course, but this is sometimes how the cookie crumbles, and this is just how your race will go. But Berger, what a win. This is definitely the first of the season.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll get a onboard shot here from Wofford, and you can see just the track blocked in front of him, nowhere he can go. Thought he saw a gap, and Mike Schultz got in the way, and excellent avoidance there by Brandon Monsivice, and they kept wrecking after that initial caution. You see the 81 down on the grass as well. Might be able to get that spot back, but just chaos behind, and white flag in the air this time for Andrew Berger. Just has to make it back around here. One final lap to go. Gotta make sure he has enough gas and has enough internet to get him back to the start-finish line. And how about Chris Piscini? Another 3rd place. He'll at least get some more points. I know he wanted the victory, but he's getting closer. Just hasn't been close enough to steal away the victory. But for him, that's got to feel at least a little bit of redemption there for Piscini.
Yeah, absolutely has to be at this stage. It's a little better than it could have been for him, but obviously not what he wanted, so he'll deal with the cards he's gotten, but the racing's been certainly interesting today.
Yeah, it has, and Berger under pacing here. Gonna come into turns 3 and 4 this time, and everything looking good for the DuPont Chevrolet. And yeah, this will be his first win on the season here, and that'll lock him up. He was the points leader coming into tonight, Rachel. And, well, he's still going to... He was looking to be locked in already on points, but doesn't even have to worry about it now because he's locked in on a win. So that should shift everything down one. So if we look at the points graphic coming into tonight, we had about 5 drivers, 6 drivers on the bubble. And now it's only going to be 5 who are going to have to point their way into the playoffs here, because Berger going to lock himself in with the points. But as they come through the short chute here, a little bit of a congratulatory bump there from Michael Cozy Jr. And Andrew Berger going to come across the start-finish line and a win here at Daytona 07.
Yeah, certainly is, and what a run from him today. Impressive. it's been something these guys really have had to fight over. I like seeing these guys who don't win as often getting a chance. And yeah, marred by caution, unusually for this track, but wow, multiple factors involving that.
Yep, and for Berger, first win on the season, and much needed win for the driver of the DuPont Chevrolet. But with that, we're going to run you through your full race results here before we step aside and get some drivers in TeamSpeak here for some post-race interviews. But Andrew Berger got it done from the World Center of Racing. Michael Cozy Jr. going to finish second. Chris Bassini going to finish third. Fourth to TJ Buck. Fifth going to go to Dan Harrington. The sixth to Corey Smith. Seventh going to go to Mark Jorgensen Jr. Daniel Holloway going to finish eighth. And ninth going to be to John Lutke. Running out your top 10, Basilia. He's going to finish 10th right there in the McDonald's number 94.
Are we still doing that? Also,
yes, we're still doing that. So as long as he drives the car, we'll keep saying it. All right, well, Rodney Woffer going to finish 11th as Rachel having some issues with that. 12th going to be Harry Tiller. 13th finisher going to be Mike Schultz. 14th going to go BJ O'Leary. Rhino it's going to finish 15th. 16th to Mike Thiel. 17th to Jason Altmans. 18th to Scott Warren. Corey Henry going to finish 19th. Rounding out your top 20, going to be Richard Reagan Jr., not where he wanted to be at all. Josh Hanner finishes 21st, a very long day for the driver of the 2-car. 22nd, Ray Rittenauer, same story, second verse. 23rd, Sean McCarrick. 24th to Brandon Monsivice. Brandon Chaburko going to finish 25th. 26th to Rod Flagg. 27th to Justin Levine. 28th to Spencer Preet. 29th to Gary Champion. Chris Panton's 30th. And then Paul Simpson Payne and Austin Coop round out the rest of your field. We're going to run to a quick commercial break, get some drivers in here to talk to. You're watching the Superspeedway Cup Series, the Sunwest Construction Superspeedway Cup Series. We'll be right back here on LSRTV with the post-race show.
It was more than impressive, I have to say. I mean, the track is identical to the real track. I was blown away how realistic it is. Every little bump, every little spray paint, everything is exactly like you're there at the track. It was a great experience. This is a warm-up lap now. Tires to get warmed up. The engine. Breathe a little bit here when you go through that little bump there. And then it's flat pretty much all the way through here, just about. Hard braking. This is the slowest part of the track. And then I've done, I did many races in Formula 3, Formula 2, and then I did the very last race they did there in Group C in 1983 in the 956 Porsche. That's when Beloff got the lap record at the 6:11. I think I was second on the grid with the 6:14 or something, which was, I mean, those cars were awesome around there, of course, like any car is, that speed. And this is the corner of all corners here, the Schwedenkreuz. Flat all the way into it. And then trail brake all the way into the apex here. And then hard at it again to get good speed down the hill here. Mega fast down this hill here. Just jump from one apex to the next. Gotta be super precise here. I mean, it's almost exactly like the real thing. So, I mean, it is certainly realistic enough to get past the very, a lot of the initial hurdles you have when you try to learn to drive a race car, So, I mean, I think it's an excellent tool to learn how to race for sure, or learn to drive a car on a racetrack.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of LSRTV, and it may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Live Sim Racing LLC and iRacing.com Motorsport Simulations. LSRTV would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.
Back live here at the World Center of Racing for the LSRTV post-race show as we begin to wrap up coverage of the Sunwest Construction Superspeedway Cup Series here from Daytona 07. Cisco Scaramuza and Rachel Whiteford here, and we're going to get right into interviews here because it was Andrew Berger who goes to LSRTV Victory Lane. We're going to get a chance to talk to him here. Andrew Berger, congratulations. First win on the season. You were locked in on points already, but this makes it a little bit easier to sleep at night because you, sir, are locked into the playoffs.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It's been a while since I've been in the winning seats, so it's great to be back here. And yeah, I'll take a victory heading into the playoffs here shortly.
So it was Calamity in front of you, or actually it was just behind you, that second to last caution. Walk us through that restart and what all happened, because it was lots of checking up behind you and it all just went crazy from there.
Yeah, I mean, coming to the end of the race, yeah, there was a lot of carnage at this Daytona 07 track. So yeah, I mean, it was an interesting race to say the least. I mean, started in the back, had a bad qualifying attempt, hit the wall, had a very terrible first pit stop. Just again, I want to apologize to Jay Wright. I mean, that was terrible. I mean, I took him out coming to pit road, but yeah, I mean, the 24 team kind of recovered after that and repaired the car. And yeah, I mean, after that, I was just kind of trying to save fuel because I wasn't sure if another yellow was going to come out or not. And once it did, we knew we were good on fuel. And then yeah, it was just kind of avoiding the wrecks, as you said. And yeah, it was nice at the last one there. I wasn't sure if I was going to be cozy or not. I mean, it was very, very close. Curious how close it was when the yellow came out, but yeah, I'm happy it worked in our favor.
Yeah, it was, and it works out for you. You get the victory here from Daytona 07. What's your mindset now that you know you're locked into the playoffs? Is it going to be kind of cruise control until then, or are you going to try and get another win here?
Yeah, I mean, we might be on cruise control, but we'll see. I mean, some of the other guys that I hang out with and TeamSpeak are needing a win, specifically the guy that came in third tonight, Chris. So we'll see if we can get him a win coming up. But no, I mean, yeah, we're coming up on the chase, and I just want to have a strong road to it. I've had a kind of rough season, even though I'm up in the points. I feel like I've been getting wrecked every other week, and just had some run-ins with some people that I usually don't do. So it's been a rough road. But no, we're on the up and up. So look forward to the chase.
All right, well, sponsors, shout-outs, everybody who gets it done for you and the DuPont Chevrolet there.
I mean, just got to thank Rod for continuing to do what he does and putting on the league. And, of course, you guys every week broadcasting us. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, everybody that helped me out tonight, thanks for all the pushing, especially there, Chris, at the end. Thanks, everybody.
Well, we got to get you a new paint scheme because it looks like you still got the old contingencies on there. So we got to retcon that here pretty soon. But Andrew Berger goes to Victory Lane and wins here at Daytona 07. Andrew, congratulations, and we'll see you in a week.
Thanks, guys.
Going to pass the mic over to Rachel, who's caught up with the driver who finished second, and it's Michael Cozy Jr.
Certainly is. Thank you, Cisco. Michael, that was probably as close as it gets at the end of a race. How's it for you?
Not very good.
Okay, so of course, still second place is great points. You are locked in already, so you are good in that regard. But another win would have been better. Nice.
Yeah, this is quite true. Wins. I definitely wanted to win that, and I definitely could have. I could have definitely manipulated the start a little bit, like I was about ready to do, but I ended up opting out of it and kind of made it a little bit more even coming along. I totally could have jumped the hell out of that, though, and gotten to the lead and won that race easy. Obviously, I didn't know they were going to wreck it behind me, but that is what it is. Happy for the 24 car, because I know I screwed him up a couple of times over the course of the season, so yeah, so I'm glad I didn't kill him tonight. But yeah, I really want to win. I wanted to get another win for some playoff bonus points, obviously, for the postseason, because Lord knows I'm not going to win a stage. But yeah, a bit unfortunate.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to, Michael?
Oh yes, shout out to my sponsors. I'd like to thank Rick Allen because I always miss him. I'm gonna get him first. Shout out to Indie Racing Images, www.indieracingimages.com. Check them out. Also, I'd like to thank Spencer Preet, Tyler Dugan, Cameron Kane, Hunter Ellis Field, my man Matthew Hibbard. We're gonna scroll around to the back here. Here we go. I'd like to thank Kay Hill in the back, Joey Moore, Kevin Blanche, Nats Dude, we got Eder Martins on the back, Timbo P. That's it.
There you go. Quite a list of names to rattle off there, but congratulations on second place today, Michael.
Thank you.
And I believe Cisco is now standing by with third place today, Chris Bassini.
And it was just short for Chris Bassini. Once again, on the podium, but not where you want to be, Chris. And you've been trying for that win for a while, and once again, it eludes you, but a good point stay nonetheless. But you got to be a little bit disappointed.
Damn, man. Points don't matter at this point, but going third, second, and third the past 3 weeks is kind of nice.
Well, I mean, in that respect, yeah, I guess you don't have the Kyle Busch syndrome of wanting to win all these races, but nonetheless, it's still been a very good points day for you, but it was kind of crazy out there. Walk us through it. You had to dodge some incidents towards the end of this thing, but talk us through your race, man.
Yeah, started off with avoiding an incident on pit road when everybody was starting to slide through. I ended up speeding because I lost track of where the cones were, and I got held for 15 seconds, but luckily we had a yellow come out before the stage, so we were able to get back in on that. And man, it seems like I was in the middle of all of that tonight. Just damn.
Yeah, no kidding. You definitely had your plate full tonight, but you bring it home third again. And what's the onset for you? I mean, are you still thinking like, I gotta get in the playoffs, or are you just gonna kind of maintain ship, or what's the game plan for you? Because we're starting to run out of races here.
Yeah, I mean, I sat out a couple races this season because I've been apparently the league's pinball to bounce off of for the first like 8-9 races, but it seems like if I stay the course, a win could possibly come before the playoffs. But if not, I mean, I'm not going to bank everything on it, so I have a list of guys that I always help and who, like, discreetly, they'll never say it, but they always help me, so I keep track of who I know to help out there and who to avoid. So you kind of saw that on that last restart. I had the gap on the bottom. I was 100% go with Andrew no matter what.
I'll tell you what, you've been close several times, and I think you're knocking on the door of winning one of these things here coming up soon, Chris. But you said you got a list. Run through it, man. Who makes it happen for you?
Well, I'm sure Andrew probably rambled it off. Our whole team speak with Mark, Rodney, Frank, Josh, Rod, Corey. Hell, I gotta make a piece of paper with everybody that's freaking in there. Shout out to my dad. He always watches. As Frank always says, his smoking hot wife. So I got to thank her for letting me race on Fridays. Rod for putting on this league as much as he does. You guys for broadcasting. And yeah, let's see if we can get an interview 4 weeks in a row. That'll be something, huh?
Hey, that would that definitely help you out.
this modified paint scheme is working for me.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. You switched to it, and it's still throwing me off because it's not Pennzoil because you were in that car for so long, but maybe it's the Jorgensen effect to where you have to run the right paint scheme in order to finish. I don't know, man.
I swear a lot of my luck kind of is based on that, is what paint job I run, so I think I'll stick with this as long as I can, and hopefully I'll get lucky.
Alrighty, man. Well, good luck to you the rest of the season. We'll talk to you hopefully next week.
Thanks, bud.
Well, that'll do it for us here, Rachel, and thanks to the magic of Cisco being able to figure some things out, we can actually look at the points post this race here, and the points have gotten shaken up, and now Scott Warren, your first driver in on points, and after him it's 19 back to Rod Flagg, Spencer Preet, Corey Henry, and Harry Tiller, your 5 remaining drivers in on points to fill out the rest of the field, and time running out.
Certainly is, of course. Looking forward to those playoffs, and things are going to get really exciting then.
Yeah, they absolutely are. But that'll do it for us here from the World Center of Racing. So for everybody behind the scenes who makes it happen on the league, Rod Flagg and Chris Bassini as well, and for everybody behind the scenes at LSRTV who makes it happen, DJ Lyon, Laura Lawson, Evan Pasoko. Still got plenty of racing action coming up this evening. The doubleheader as per usual Saturday night, USR B&C Lawn Landscaping Truck Series, the BRL Outlaw Modified Series, both of those running Saturday night. CEA comes back on Sunday. We had majors last week, so we're back with the CEA American Pool Supply Truck Series on Sunday. And then after a very extended off week, the RSR, the Full Throttle Cup RSR Cup Series presented by English Auto LLC, gets back rolling at Bristol. That and many more races coming up. If you want to take a look at the full broadcast schedule, you can at www.livesimracing.com, and on there you can find out more about us. And if you want to be on LSRTV, whether you're being broadcasted or you are broadcasting. But for all of us here in the booth, well, I say all of us, for Rachel Whiteford and myself, Cisco Scarman, so we bid you a good evening here from Daytona. We'll see you around the turn. Good night.